Live from New York, it's the show that is quite fond of Drake May. Been watching some Drake May highlights.
You are now.
Turns out.
This is the biggest
Good luck
sports
with
day
that.
since the Super Bowl.
Wow.
2.5 NBA playoff
know.
games,
Caitlin.
Cavs Magic, and then the
Caitlin.
NFL draft.
Caitlin,
Yeah, but that was one event. And everything going on, it's like a 7-hour sports extravaganza.
Great day. It is
12
great.
hours if you start
Great
right now.
day.
Today, good take. The Heat pulling off the upset in Boston. Miami comes in, goes 23 for 43 from 3, wins by 10 to even the series. Now, Jimmy posted a confusing meme here. Feeling cute, I might delete this later. Don't let us get one, which is what Jaylen Brown said last year in ode to what Kevin Millar said 20 years ago when the Red Sox were up on the, Red Sox were down 0-3. So now all of a sudden Jimmy's in Jalen's jersey. It's a little bit of a.
It wasn't that confusing.
It was very confusing.
I mean, it was pretty sure.
Why was Jimmy in Jalen's jersey?
Because that was a picture of Jaylen Brown, who the quote was from, and he took that screenshot and had his people put his face on it. It's not that confusing.
It felt like he did it himself.
The internet just confuses you after
it's a
10
The
20-year-old
one thing that
meme.
was clear, he watches the show. He's feeling
Our
cute.
show.
Cute. Feeling cute.
good.
Okay.
That's
No,
our
that's a
word.
different
My
meme,
word.
guys.
No, it's good.
Let's just get to the show.
Brew, is your faith in the Celtics shaken?
No, because you guys know I have been lukewarm on the Celtics
That's
all
true.
year.
Yeah.
And now I think they'll win the East, and I still feel that way. They were my pick. But it's about a championship for them. They've won the East before. They've been to the conference finals before. They got to win a championship. And I've said it. Look, we think Denver's winning this series now against the Lakers. I think the Lakers, if the Lakers could win that series, I think they could beat Boston. I think whoever comes out of the West, assuming it's Denver, it won't be the Lakers, but I think there are teams in the West that could beat
I think
Boston.
Minnesota would beat Boston. I think Minnesota would beat
if they
Boston.
show the mental toughness and maturity to get out of the West, I mean, that's the thing. I don't look at Boston as your typical 64-win team.
No.
I'm like, they are lucky the Eastern Conference is in shambles. All right, that's it. Now, they're a good team, don't get me wrong. But no, my faith wasn't shaken. It's where it is. All right? And look, last night what happened was Miami, and this is what Miami does. They combine toughness. They're the tougher team, both mentally and physically, with three-point marksmanship. And that's what they did. And I know Jalen's like, hey, they were hot. What do? You know what, though? They get hot a lot against Boston.
That's weird.
In 4 of their last 9 playoff games against each other, they've hit 50% of their threes.
That's odd.
Like, it could happen. I mean, the numbers tell us it will happen again in this series. And so that's the thing. And I wish I had thought of this before. I would have told Keta, you know what the Celtics are?
Oh, no.
They some breakdowns.
Oh, no.
They're a finesse. Under Joe Mazzulla, they're a finesse team.
See, this is what I was waiting for. 'Cause you're putting a lot of this on the coach.
Yeah, look, they weren't a finesse team under Ime Udoka.
No.
They were tough. They were hard-nosed. They just ran into an experienced Golden State team. That if they don't get out of the East, this is on Mazzulla. And look, Porzingis they guard him with Caleb Martin.
Yeah.
Porzingis couldn't get any shots in the paint for the most part. That's on him. But again, he's a finesse player.
Of course. Of course you have to lose some faith. This was, by a point spread standpoint, the biggest upset in the NBA playoffs since the 2019 Pat Bev, Lou Williams Clippers beat the Warriors in that game that then led Kevin Durant to say, I'm Kevin Durant. Do you know who I am? I'm Kevin Durant. Yeah. So it's the biggest upset in the playoffs in 5 years, and it's a terrible loss that also Mazzulla and Jaylen Brown misdiagnosed after. When they say, oh, they were hitting tough shots, we had good closeouts. By the tracking data, 23 of those 43 three-point attempts were classified as wide open. So no one within 5 feet. So yes,
they happened to make 23 of them.
And they obviously all 23 weren't the makes. But what I'm saying is more than half of the three-point attempts were wide open. And so yes, it was a hot shooting night, but it wasn't because of nothing Boston did. And I agree with you, Brew, that they're for Boston, anything short of a championship this year is going to be a disappointment.
Yeah, he doesn't get fired if they get to the finals.
Correct. But and I would even say anything getting to the finals and losing to Denver, I don't even know if people will look at that as anything other than, Denver's the team right now.
That's right.
But losses like this do make me question if they're going to be playing in the finals. Because I don't think they're going to lose to Miami in the series, and I don't think they're going to lose to Cleveland in the next series. But in those conference finals, you will either be playing, in my opinion, with respect to the Pacers, a Milwaukee team that will have Giannis back.
Right.
A Philly team that at that point will have Embiid must be healthier and they will be rolling, or a Knicks team that is
that's
like
Miami,
but without its best player injured.
Yep.
And a loss like last night, Wildes, makes me feel like, man, oh man, are the Celtics lucky that Jimmy Butler got hurt?
Oh.
Like and that would have been the second straight year that an 8 seed Miami against a 1 seed Boston either gave them trouble or beat them, or I guess Boston was in the 1 last year, pardon me, but an 8 seed Miami beat them in the
right.
Boston was the 2 last year. So like that's a awful loss. I don't know
and
that
it
we'll
takes
have,
away. I agree with you. They're going to win the series, but they lost home court advantage too. Like there are tangible and practical losses that they had last night too, not just kind of psychological.
Yes.
Okay, so here are the deeper dig on the numbers, Brew, on Heat from 3 and how hot they were. 3rd highest percentage on 40 attempts or more in playoff history. So we all know this. Here's the weird thing. Celtics great at home during the regular season. And now we're at 2 playoff, the last 3 years, they're 12-13 at home. A lot of these are weird losses. A lot of them are Heat losses. What do you make of this?
The
this
10-point losses is crazy if you look at that number. Over 3 years in 133 games, they have 6 double-digit losses, and then in 3 years in 25 playoff games, 6 double-digit losses. That's crazy.
What do you make of
Look,
that?
I've got to look at my best players, particularly the guys who have the ball in their hands at the end of the game, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Now, you guys know I love Jason Tatum. I was pushing for him to be in club superstar before he was in it, and he is a superstar. But he has not been clutch. And in the playoffs, obviously you had some blowout losses, but in the playoffs, the games are generally going to be close. And so what is your execution like, and what are your 2 main guys like? Do they have ice in their veins or not? And they can have a tendency, too, to be too much isolation basketball, and that's an issue, too.
I'm going to bring up 2 other quick points. One is the big difference between this year's Celtics and last year's Celtics are the player acquisitions, right? Drew Holiday is one of my favorite players. Post-championship, he obviously had a rough couple postseasons, and then we'll see this one. Kristaps has no postseason resume whatsoever. He has 1 really good playoff game in his career. He had only played in 10 playoff games prior to this series. And so leaning on him a ton could be problematic. We'll see.
But they're going to lean on him. He's a critical part of their team.
100%, but he's a playoff unknown. But the last point I'll make is this. Everything, and this is one of the things I love about sports and I love about the NBA playoffs, everything has a cost. So we are going to see over the next 2 months, guys, I'm not even necessarily talking about stars, but a 4th guy or a 5th guy, a guy like Grayson Allen for Phoenix. Oh, he turned his ankle. He's out a week. He's out. When you, as I guess the common parlance now is play with your food, when you allow these series to extend, things can happen. It's
true.
And then it's less of a like, oh, you got unlucky, you dealt with an injury. If somebody from Boston gets dinged in a game 6 against Miami, that's this game's fault. If that, you know what I mean? And if you're trying to win a championship, all of that stuff has to matter.
This is going to be a tough series.
Yeah, I think at this point it's going to go 6. Do you think Boston's going to win the next 3?
You think 5?
You think they're going to win both in Miami?
I think it'll just be like the Denver series. They split at home, and it's like, all right, let's go and take care of business.
Yeah,
Denver's better than Boston. Okay.
I know, but on paper, 4-1. The Spoelstra gets 1. That's what he does.
Okay. I mean, listen.
I told you this.
Here's the deal. And I apologize because I don't want to be unfair. But the Lakers, if you watch them night in, night out, they're obviously not a well-coached team. And I feel that I think it's tangible. I think you can see it. And I think that we have no problem saying, in the series we just watched, or we just talked about, that is a coaching mismatch. That is Eric Spoelstra, Joe Mazzulla, and Joe Mazzulla is in his second year as a head coach who got to a conference finals last year, we are saying, potentially coaching for his job in this postseason. But because I feel like in the media at large, there's a little bit of a Calvin ball when it comes to what we are and aren't allowed to criticize when it comes to LeBron James coaches, right? It's like, oh, okay, you can't criticize Frank Vogel because he won a championship. So that's a weird thing, right? Because he won a championship, in my opinion, because of LeBron's greatness, so now in AD. So now he's uncriticizable, but now he's in Phoenix, and he's going to get fired here in about 10 days, and everyone's fine with it.
I'm not trying to be fresh, but I don't understand what you're saying.
So when Vogel got criticized, that's the thing. LeBron's coaches get criticized.
Correct. And then I think when it comes to when we have talked about Frank Vogel on this show, it has been, what, you wanted more from Frank Vogel? What do you want? He won a championship. LeBron wanted him to get exactly. That's your take.
More respect.
That's your take.
Right.
I don't think he was very good. I don't think he was good in Orlando. I don't think he was good in Los Angeles. They won a championship despite it. I don't think he's done a good job in Phoenix. He was great in Indiana, first stop. I don't think Darvin Ham's done a good job. I don't think anyone can point to anything that he's done a good job. Now, would that change this series? I don't know. I know the last game literally was as close as it possibly could have been. And we think Mike Malone's an excellent coach. So do I think the Lakers are frustrated? Yes. Do I think that they are right now at a massive coaching deficit, similar to what we're dealing with in Miami, Boston? I do. Do I think people are hesitant to that because they think it's like protecting LeBron? Yeah, that's what I think.
But he's getting criticized.
Yeah.
Ham is on the hot seat.
So you agree he's on the hot seat?
I'm not saying he should be, but he's being scapegoated.
So, but is it a scapegoat if you're the problem?
Was he a bad coach when they won the in-season tournament? Was he a bad coach when they were up 20?
So this is my point. You see what I'm now? Does what
no,
I was saying
I'm
make
asking.
more sense?
Well, yeah, but I got confused about the Vogel stuff because you're saying Vogel was a mediocre coach, but LeBron and AD's greatness were able to overcome it. And now, Darvin Ham's a mediocre coach, but
might be worse.
Might be worse, and they're not able to overcome it.
Yeah, they're older and it's a harder opponent.
LeBron is an awesome, obviously, player. When he wins, it's LeBron's credit. When he doesn't, his teammates and his coaches get blamed. We have seen that time and time again.
Except, I guess
every stop.
So, but that's not.
Spoelstra was being criticized
so that's
when he was in Miami.
So I disagree with that. Spoelstra, LeBron, his first year there, LeBron and Wade went to Riley and complained about Spoelstra, and then Riley said no, and now Spoelstra is universally recognized as a great coach.
But he wasn't then.
In the moment, like I think by the end of the run.
Was he doing something wrong?
He wasn't. Spoelstra wasn't scapegoated for them losing the fourth finals. No, he wasn't.
No, I'm talking about the first year. They wanted. Spoelstra was getting criticized. Was he not a good? Now, obviously, he's a better coach.
Better coach now.
But my point is this. All right. Michael Malone is a great coach.
Yes.
He's up there with Spoelstra.
I agree.
So they do have a coaching advantage.
Yes.
But I want to address Anthony Davis.
Oh, wow.
What he said. We didn't know what we were doing, okay, out there at times. That is making an excuse. That is passing the buck. That is looking for a scapegoat, and that is not the mentality that's going to get you back in this series.
Yeah.
Right?
You're blaming the refs.
Yes, right. Look in the mirror. Because, Anthony, I know what you were doing. Nothing. In the fourth quarter, you were doing nothing. You played 10 minutes, 9 minutes, 55 seconds to be exact. You took one shot. Did you take one shot? You got one rebound. You had 0 points. But that's Darvin Ham's fault. You have the clout, my man, to say, give me the ball. I've been killing these dudes for 2 quarters. Give me the ball. You didn't do that. You know what happened? Aaron Gordon muscled you up. We know you don't like physical play. Aaron Gordon muscled you up, and you were looking for Darvin or Phil Handy or somebody to give you some advice. What can I do with this dude?
That's what the coaches are for.
That's
their job.
Well, okay, if they didn't tell you, I'm going to tell you.
Okay, well, you were with you.
Anthony, I'm going to tell you. Big boy him.
Okay.
What does Chris mean by big boy him? The same thing Nikola Jokic did to you.
Okay, that's
All
fine.
right, when it was time in the fourth quarter for a bucket, he backed you down and put a bucket over you while being fouled, if I'm not mistaken. That's what you need to do to Aaron Gordon because he's smaller than you. Is that enough?
Okay, that's
Is
fine.
that somebody telling you what to do?
Okay, Brew, can I tell you something? As someone who's watched 70 Lakers games this year, I wish you were the coach. There is you know what? You've sold me on it. And but Wildes, now maybe I didn't explain it properly.
No, I get it.
But I think Brew's response to me was kind of the frustration part. It's like whenever they succeed, it is used as evidence that's a good coach. But by that same logic, then when they fail, then is that evidence it's a bad coach? Or can we evaluate it and look at it? Yeah. Just like we are with Mazzulla versus Spoelstra. And we think that is a big deficit. Just like Mazzulla, whose resume right now looks great. But you are saying is on the hot seat.
You know why we think it's with Mazzulla? It's not because the analytics kings out there love Mazzulla. I mean, you listen to them and, oh, my gosh, this team is historically great. They're awesome, right? You know why we look at Joe, at least me, Joe Mazzulla, and say, you should be on the hot seat? Because you were in the finals the year before you got there, and now we're going backwards.
Yes, and the Lakers the year before that won the championship.
You know how I judge coaches? Results.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and tell an NBA coach they don't know what they're doing because they know the X's and O's better than me. I'm judging you by results.
Okay, and I think the Lakers have underachieved.
Love it.
I think the Lakers have underachieved this year.
They might be the second best team in the league. They just playing the first best team.
Okay, maybe so. And I think in the margins, I think that, and we didn't talk about it the day after because I knew the reaction would be an allergic reaction to it. But I think the biggest, in game 2, the biggest difference between the two teams was the coaches. In a game that came down to the final moments. That's what I felt.
When they were up 20?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, was Ham doing a bad job at that point?
No, what I am saying is, no.
I'm just asking.
But when they were tearing away at the lead, when they had their fourth quarter runs, when you're going home with timeouts in your pocket, yes, that is part of coaching.
Can LeBron say, you know what? No, we're not running that. We're going AD. Let's do this.
Yes, you're right.
He has the clout to do that.
Of course, I agree with that. That yes, LeBron could overrule him. There are things that one can do. Yeah. But that is then overcoming your own coaching, right? If you have to then be like, God dog it, I got to do this too, that's overcoming. Now, we've seen, you're right, LeBron did it. He overruled David Blatt famously. But that was another one. I'll use that as an example.
He's probably overruled
David Blatt. It's like, what do you want from
degree.
David Blatt? Got to the finals, you have the best record. And the answer was he wasn't a good coach in the NBA. I think he was a good coach. I mean, and to me, there's proof in that he's never come back. Like, I don't think it's a well-coached team.
He was different than Ham.
Oh!
He had no NBA
We have a
experience.
special alarm that you were totally unaware of it. I'm somewhat aware of it.
Well, we were supposed to just do
happening
basketball
now?
here.
Yeah.
However, on Monday, we had mock draft 4.0.
A breaking news thing.
We had the official mock draft 4.0. However, I have gotten furious intel from Las Vegas, and you guys know who it is, but don't reveal. My most trusted NFL source that has made me flip one top 5 pick. So that was mock draft 4.0 that I promised was going to be the most accurate in the media. We have one adjustment right under the wire. Show the adjustment. Jaylen 2,
So that
Drake
should be
May 3.
4.1 for the record.
Okay, well, you know what? Talk to the graphics department, but that's fine. So everything else remains the same, 1 through 32.
Okay,
but now Jaylen has gone from even money to minus 1,000 to be the second overall pick.
Yep.
There is an element of Cliff Kingsbury coached Patrick Mahomes. He coached Caleb Williams. He's the offensive coordinator. Is he going to have a say? And a lot of the speculation about what the Patriots are or aren't going to do is centered around Drake May being available at 3. So for all those reasons, this is the adjustment to mock draft 4.0. Wildes, you've been all in on Jaylen, but I feel like part of that was because you didn't even get into Drake May because you were certain he was going to go
I'm going to fall in line.
Now you like Drake.
Just to speak your language, what size collar is Drake May wearing there?
Yeah,
That looks like a 19 and a half, dude.
Yeah, and unlike Jaden Daniels, who I think's a millennial, Drake May is a Zoomer generation. Young guy.
My goodness.
Well, first of all, Nick,
Yeah.
I could have told you this.
Okay.
I've been saying Washington's got to take Jaylen Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. Yes.
Jaden Daniels.
Yes.
Like he's I like him better than Drake May. And look, he doesn't want to go there. We've seen all that, right? But he hasn't said I'm not playing for
Correct.
him.
No, he's
right?
not gonna.
He's just. I'm fine with a player having their preferences. He hasn't been drafted
And
yet.
maybe-
But once he gets there, I think he'll
It
he'll
was
be a
odd to
professional.
go there if you're like really trying to court someone. Be like, you know what? Group
But
date. like
also,
some sort
Drew,
of-
sometimes you're like, I don't want to go to this restaurant. And then people tell you the restaurant alternative, and you're like, okay, I'll go to the first one. So maybe he's like, I don't want to go to Washington. They're like, then you're going to New England. He's like, it's Washington, D.C.
First of all,
sign me up.
There's
Well,
zero
look,
chance that happens.
I
There's
will
zero
say-
chance you want to go to Washington besides
Well,
and not
no,
go to
really?
the team of the century.
No, I'm not sure. Look, who's got the best receiver of the
Better,
two teams?
yeah, best two
Terry
receivers.
McLaurin.
Is,
Well, that's
is
two
the,
receivers.
is the draft
The
over?
best
Is T.
running back-
Higgins
best running
still
back?
demanding a
Also,
trade?
If you're
I don't know.
no, Washington, you're in a better position to succeed.
The proven coach, Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm just saying.
What? Okay.
He's not more proven than
Gerard Mann?
Gerard Mann.
Okay, Dan Quinn. Yeah, go to war with Dan Quinn. Great guy.
Oh, I will.
Nice.
And Cliff
He did
Kingsbury,
well.
who I think will be a better OC than H.
You love going to Super Bowls.
He's
That's
in a
what
good
Dan Quinn
situation.
did. Come on. Come on. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.